The Dambuster raid was an attack on German dams carried out on the 16th of May 1943 by the Royal Air Force using a purpose-built bouncing bomb. The Möhne and Edersee dams were breached, causing catastrophic flooding on the Ruhr Valley. 2 hydroelectric power stations were destroyed and several more damaged. An estimated 1,600 civilians, about 600 Germans and 1,000 forced laborers died. But the greatest impact on the Ruhr armaments production was the loss of hydroelectric power. This resulted in a loss of electrical power in the factories and many households in the region for 2 weeks. In May 1943, coal production dropped by 400,000 tons, which German sources attribute to the effect of the raid. In his book Inside the Third Reich, Albert Speer stated that might employing just a few bombers, the British came close to a success which have been greater than anything they had achieved hitherto with a commitment of 1,000 bombers. It is a little-known fact that the German Air Force was planning a similar raid against the Soviet power plants. Operation Eisenhammer or Iron Hammer was a planned strategic bombing operation against power generators near Moscow in the Soviet Union. The plan of the operation was created in 1943 by Professor Heinrich Steinmann, an official at the German Air Ministry. The bombing raid was to destroy 12 turbines in water and steam power plants near Moscow, Gorky and the Rybinsk Reservoir, as well as to attack certain substations and transmission lines. The most important target was the hydroelectric power plant at Rybinsk. The station was built between 1935 and 1940, right before the Second World War. The government of the Soviet Union foresaw the future war, and lots of industrial objects were constructed in this period. The capacity of the Rybinsk hydroelectric power plant was about 350 megawatts. The average annual power generation was 1.1 billion kilowatt per hour. If the attack were to succeed in destroying just 2/3 of the turbines, it would have knocked out about 75% of the power used by the Soviet defense industry. At this time, the Soviet Union had no turbine manufacturing capabilities, and the only repair facility had been heavily damaged. The plan was redesigned several times. Finally, in 1944, to accomplish the goal, Mistel long-range bombers were to be employed. Mistel was the larger, unmanned component of a composite aircraft configuration developed in Germany during the later stages of World War II. The composite comprised a small, piloted control aircraft mounted above a large, explosive-carrying drone. The most successful of these used a modified Junkers Ju-88 bomber as the Mistel, with the entire nose-located crew compartment replaced by a specially designed nose filled with a large load of explosives formed into a shaped charge. The combination would be flown to its target by a pilot in the fighter. Then the unmanned bomber was released to hit its target and explode, leaving the fighter free to return to base. The first such composite aircraft flew in July of 1943 and was promising enough to begin a program by the German Air Force, eventually entering operational service. Due to the shortage of bombers and fuel and the Red Army overrunning advanced bases, the plan was postponed repeatedly. In February of 1945, however, Eisenhower was resurrected and the German Air Force assembled about 100 Mistral aircraft near Berlin and waited for favorable weather to attack the plants around Moscow. After a US air raid on the Military Aviation Test Headquarters facility, which destroyed 18 Mistral, the plan was postponed again and shortly afterwards finally dropped.